Okay, let me see if I can get this lighting better. Hey, Greg, how are you this morning? Glad to see you popped in here. I hope everybody will recognize my bad chin. Hey, Ponka, how are you? I'm over here at the dealership, over here at the Napa store this morning, and just trying to get over my grand opening. I guess you might say I'm gonna teach people how not to shave here. Us guys with two chin, people with two chins have to watch this because you get old, the old skin doesn't do as good, and I'm about wiped out one of my chins this morning, you might say. Is the sound coming through good? I'm on. Whoops. Let me change off some of that stuff. It looks like it, doesn't it? It looks like I was using a bush hog. That's about right. I whacked it up pretty good. Yeah, I had to about needed stitches. It looks like, but yeah, I did that yesterday. It's just scabbed over there and everything. But yeah, I jumped in there and whacked it off pretty good. It took a little of my skin, and I'll just have to learn to. Of course, a lot of my buddies says, "Well, you need to grow a goatee or do this." Of course, my wife doesn't want me to. She's not much for facial hair, so I've listened to her for a long time about that. So I'll just not have the facial hair and all that sort of stuff. So you'll have to look at my clean shaven mug, I guess. Well, hey, Christopher, how are you? I'm in here trying to straighten up a little bit from the grand opening. We had our grand opening over the weekend. Uh, Even though we had a lot of bad weather, it turned out pretty successful. On Friday, we had Chase Elliott's uh, Cup car, the show car over here. It was really nice looking and everything. That was pretty neat. And then well, hey, Chris, how are you? Chris, I see you working hard on that basement and everything. I was watching that. That reminds me, my dad did something similar to that. Gosh, 50, 60 years ago, 60, yeah, probably 60 years ago. We had a house, and he decided he wanted to build a basement under it like that and do some work. And we got a good cellar out of it. We didn't go to the extent, and we didn't have the equipment that y'all guys had. And he just had four young boys to dig with shovels. So it was sort of reminiscent of what I did as a child there. But you know, it's pretty neat to see people take on an endeavor like what you did, Chris. So that's pretty neat. Uh, but yeah, we had yeah, yeah, it is. Just be careful at all aspects of that. And I know y'all are. I've been watching it. You got to be really careful and get your footings right and your piers right and everything else, and not have anything cave in on you. That's the key to it. Yeah, I enjoy watching it. I encourage everybody. Chris, I encourage people going back and looking at Chris's old content too. Pretty interesting. Chris and Ricky get out there and do some things. Do it. It's kind of old school, old ways, and things like that. So yeah, they got a great podcast too, I guess, or show, YouTube show. So go check out Outcast Projects there, and they make things interesting. Scare me sometimes, but they make it interesting. As an old guy, I like to be safe. That's the main thing. Uh, I don't want to be too dangerous out there. But getting back on to the show, I mean, as far as what we did, we had a good turnout. Napa really stepped up for me. Napa Corporate brought out a truckload of toolboxes so we could sell and a few things like that. And they found one that was, I guess, a scratch and dent. And they told me, they said, "Well, Mike, we're going to let you give this one away." And I had a live radio broadcast. We were doing a live radio broadcast at the time. And boy, that did bring the people in because it was about a $1,500 Hobart Pro toolbox. And we were able to give that away to a lucky person that came in and signed up. I mean, I didn't have any cost in it at all, and we other than I was paying for all the radio broadcasts and stuff like that. But it was really good, and we got a lot of new customers that came in and saw our store and a few things like that. People that ordinarily weren't our customers, and I feel like we were able to win over some customers. Yeah, it's getting people, like I said, getting people used to our new location and everything. And we had a 2 day. The second day, again, we were fighting the weather again on the second day. It wasn't. It was a little bit rainy yesterday, and then, and of course, we're going to be fighting storms again today too. We got a big storm coming through. I guess the same thing that was running through the Midwest. There was snow and everything else, and in the South, we're having thunderstorms, and a lot of even some tornadoes and stuff like that that are funneling through. So it's you know anytime you figure an outdoor event, it's tough to have that. I mean, I've done several of them, and I'm probably running 50-50 right now on the weather. You I guess this time of the year, I really shouldn't figure on an outdoor event. Well, you know, through the winter there, you're actually seeing a tinted window, so you're not going to see much sunshine through here right now. Uh, just I got a good sunny office here. I got all these LED lights in here, so it's good. But we're trying to win over some new customers and everything, and get that going good. And so far, so good. Oh, your window. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah. This window goes out to my lobby, and it's tinted too, so you can't even see into it. You can see the reflection of my Napa. I've got my Napa computer right there, and that's about what you see over here on behind me. Of course, you'll see all my. This is my wife's office actually. It's a little bit neater than mine. I don't broadcast much from my office because boy, mine's all messed up really bad. My wife keeps a pretty bit a little bit neater office, so I broadcast from her office. It's not as embarrassing to broadcast from hers. Uh, I've got a few things I've stuck on her desk there. I probably make it a little less unkempt because my wife is a neat person. She wants things in order. She wants it neat, but and I'm a little more scattered, I guess you might say. I put stuff down and go pick it up later, and don't always put it in its proper place. But getting back to the grand opening, it was good. I wish it had been better. Yesterday is one that probably disappointed me the worst because the weather. It was calling for good weather. We had a tent and everything, but when you got people out there, and when that first strike of lightning hit, people were getting ready to scramble. I mean, and I don't blame them either. I didn't want anybody electrocuted in any way, shape, or form. But we had a thunderstorm to come up, and it popped a streak of light in the background, and there went the show. We started having to break it down then because we had a band out there and people out in the parking lot and everything else. So we had to abandon that quickly and hopefully not get anybody hurt. So we did that and still had a good crowd, and we had a drive in for some cars, but we were a little bit low on that too because all the people with these fancy cars didn't want to come out because they and I had a couple of them to drive up, and they said, "Yeah, where's the car show going to be?" I said, "Well, down here." And they said, "Yeah, we had a car too to bring." I said, "Well, why don't you bring it?" "Oh, no, no, my car's worth $100,000. I'm not about to bring it out and take a chance of getting it wet." So that shot that in the wad. And there was another car show uptown, and they had the same issue too. People just didn't want to bring them out because they're afraid they were going to get them wet and things like that. And I guess these people have real show cars. So you know, weather has played havoc on me, I guess you might say, this week. So uh, we'll just have to live with it and go on. Excuse me, but the good part of it is, uh, I think we gained customers, and I think we're getting the awareness with the publicity we've put up and put on the radio and a few things like that. The awareness of what we're doing and what we've got is coming around, and I'm real happy with that. And you got to put it out there. Yeah, yeah. I got the shag one. Shag being the Carolina shag, not shagging like the English people, what they call shag. But I only got the shag on one song, uh, and I actually got up there and sang with them too. So uh, the old saying is, yeah, he can sing and he can dance. So I did both, and I had a good time. I had some great musicians. I mean, all four of these guys are studio musicians, and they sounded fantastic. And I'm going to try to get them back. My wife and I will be celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary next year, and so we're going to try to maybe get them back and celebrate a 50th wedding anniversary if we can. But I'm going to put it indoors. I'm not going to attempt anything like that out of doors. I'll do it indoors, and if we can do that, I think we can have a pretty good turnout and have a good time and enjoy it and everything, and not have a uh, not not hurt uh, not hurt the attendance and everything. The attendance and everything was down because of all the weather and everything. But you know, like I said, when you put an outdoor event out and it's threats of thunderstorms and everything else, people stay in the comfort of their home or somewhere else indoor, and that's what you get. But other than that, knock on wood, the trucking went pretty smooth this week. We didn't have anything major that we've had. Uh, we're still working on some in frame and stuff and a few things like that. Well, it's I couldn't do a rain date with Napa. That's the problem. And it like I said, thank goodness we had a big tent out there because we came a downpour. I mean, a gully washer on Friday. Uh, when we had Chase Elliott's car, but we had it under the tent, and people could go underneath the tent, and a lot of people inside my store and everything. So we did real good with it. We'll try to maybe schedule other events. It won't be a grand opening, but it'll be other events and some things that we feel like that will have a draw on customers and maybe some giveaways and a few things like that. We were able to give away a bunch of things. Calvin, that owns the radio station, he had a lot of giveaways that he coordinated and gave away during my show. And then, like I said, we gave away that big toolbox. So all in all, we did really good with that and had a good draw on people that wanted to come out anyway. And if we can get your name out and people say, "Oh, this Napa store really is good looking," and that's a lot of what we got. We got a lot of people that came in and said, "Oh man, your store looks really great," and I'll have to give y'all guys a tour of it again one day too. We'll get over here and I'll get the portable YouTube out and I'll show you what all we've done. I feel like we really put up a nice looking store now, and I'm getting a lot of compliments. Napa corporate really likes it, and when you can please those type people and they can say, yeah, that your Napa store really is doing good, then it's you feel like you've accomplished what you're supposed to accomplish. Well, I'm gonna take a drink of my good old Tide Mountain Dew. Yeah, and I may do what you're talking about, Chris. I may do a yearly appreciation day or something like that. Well, and I hope that's true, Tim. I hope the people that say that my store looks really good, they will come back. And I feel confident that we gained several hundred customers that normally haven't seen our store, and I got a real knowledgeable staff. I've got some guys that have worked in different industries and also automotive industry that are very knowledgeable. And what we get with our competition a lot of times is they have just no offense, just any Tom, Dick, and Harry that has walked off the street and said, "Can I work at your store?" And they get people that are not as knowledgeable. And I'm hoping to gain on that in that respect, that we have the product, we got a real good product, that we have the knowledgeable people that can work hard, and we're doing things that some of the others. We're the only store in town that mixes paint, that will do automotive paint. So we can do that. We're the only one that does hydraulic hoses. So that helps a lot of farmers and people in construction and people like that. But for us to be able to advertise those things and have things that people really want, it I think it's a great thing for us. I think it's a great thing, and we got a couple other things we're working on. I've got a good friend that's a cat representative, for Caterpillar, and he's talked to me about. He says, let's have a day out there where people can come out and use our cat equipment. He said, I'll bring 4 or 5 good pieces of equipment, and we'll let them try them out. He said, "If you got any land back here you can work on?" I said, "Shoot, yeah. I got 8 acres of land. We'll clear off some of this land back here and let people operate a bulldozer and stuff like that." So I may very well do one of those in the near future if I can have it, and that way maybe bring some farmers out and let them see what Caterpillar has to offer. And he may try to coordinate that for me, and I'll advertise it, and we'll see if we can't do something like that. And I feel like that will bring out a good many people too. Yeah, and get some free land clearing. That's the other thing too. I get some guys on his head. He said, "Oh yeah, let me see what this D8 will do." I don't know what the model numbers are now, but they got. Well, here comes the rain that we're talking about. Lord have mercy. It hit this metal roof here with a vengeance. So I don't know if y'all can hear it in the background. Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking about is I'm going to cut some of the trees down, and I'm going to put buildings out there. We may put some storage buildings and everything. Yeah. As we were talking about example, I don't know if y'all can. I don't think you can hear it through the microphones. But boy, the rain is just the skies just opened up over here real big time, and we're going to be fighting that again today. But fortunately, I don't have anything going on today. Nothing. Today will be my day of relaxation. Hopefully, we're kind of behind on our services on our trucks. I've got I think about 6 trucks to service this week, so we're going to have to catch up on that. Friday, I kind of fudged and didn't service some, and we brought the guys over here to help make sure we had enough hands on deck to watch the store. So we took my mechanics and everything else, and they helped watch it it wasn't too bad for them. I don't think it. All they had to do is kind of hang around and listen to my orders. Say, Jim, go get this. Larry, go get this. Jeff, go get that sort of stuff, and do a little bit of this, that, and the other. And they hung out on that. I know if Jim's listening, Jim sometimes listens. Yeah, and Jeff too. They both listen. I hope I didn't work them too hard. I don't think I did. I saw them hanging around eating some of the free hot dogs. So they 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 got it made there. We had free hot dogs and drinks and a lot of people to talk to and that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah. The old chief here, he had to dictate to the Indians. I got pretty good Indians though, I guess you might say that my guys are. I'm fortunate. I got good guys that work over here at my Napa store, and I've got good guys working my shop, and I don't have to tell them what to do. I mean, we have a generalization. We say, well, you know, I'll say, here's what we've got. Let's get this done. And the good thing about my shop guys, my shop guys generally tell me what they find is wrong. Hey, we need to fix this. We need to fix that, and so on. And we'll, survey the situation on the trucks. And Larry and Jim both have a lot of experience, and uh, they're real good about finding things before like they say, preventative maintenance. And preventative maintenance is key when you run a trucking business, because if they can catch it in my shop, it's thousands of dollars saved. I mean, for instance, I haven't had much tire issue. I mean, I use brand new tires. I don't run recaps, but yeah, yeah. I've had two different tire issues in the past uh, 3 or 4 weeks. I had one had a blowout on a rear tire, and I got it into the truck stop, but it still cost me $800 for a $300 tire. I mean, but I had to do it, and I had to get it fixed. I had to get it on the road. Fortunately, now the second one, I don't know what happened. I think the guy must have run over something, but fortunately, he was within my range here at my shop, and I was able to send Jim and Larry down, and we got that one. It was a front tire, and which those scared the hell out of me. I hate it when I hear about a front tire blowing out, and that works out good. Now, one I will give you an update. I don't know if I've even given the update. I had a about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had an unfortunate incident where one of my drivers flipped the rear box, the rear trailer in West Virginia. He flipped the rear trailer, but it was ruled unpreventable. And because there was a bad storm going through, they checked the weather forecast, they checked my cameras, everything, and they ruled it in his favor. And I was able to save the driver's job, and I didn't get penalized on the points, and everything came out good. So that was a huge, huge relief. And that's the first time. Yes, FedEx gave him a break. That was the the drivers fuss about these cameras and everything we have technology wise, but that was a case where the camera probably saved this man's job, because the camera showed the action that he was doing everything right, that he was driving in his lanes. I mean, it showed where he had to get on the emergency stopping lane, but uh, it showed that he was, in a curve. He was doing the speed. He was doing below the speed limit. He was doing 58 miles an hour in I think, a 70-mile-an-hour zone. He was doing 58 because the weather was bad, and so everything seemed to be, it was sort of textbook. And I was looking online. I was on the Weather Channel this week, and they were showing a couple of guys going through Texas, and it showed, I believe one of them was an Old Dominion, and it showed the guys going along, and all of a sudden it just flipped him over. Of course, it took it. He was a 53, and it took the whole truck, trailer, tractor, everything, and just flipped it on its side. And there's not a lot you can do about that when you're in these high wind conditions like that. And that's what my guy was in too. And I mean, it was a gust of winds, and it took it out. Well, see, that's the first, well, in 32 years with FedEx, that's the first time I've ever had anybody that lost a rear box. First time. We've never encountered, we've had some scares. Now, I've had some drivers a couple of years ago. I have a lot of guys that go up Fancy Gap and on I-77. A couple of years ago, I had a couple of guys that really got spooked up there on Fancy Gap. And at the same time, there were 4 trucks that got flipped up there at the exact same time. I mean, that it was like bam, 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 bam. The 4 trucks, 4 tractor trailer trucks got flipped up there on Fancy Gap. And I've had guys that they were driving up through there at the same time, and it spooked the crap out of them because the wind was terrible. And there's a couple of areas in there when that crosswind was coming off the mountain, it will really wreak havoc on you. And that's basically what happened to my driver too. I mean, he was coming down that one section and going around a curve, and it was raining. The whole scenario was bad for him. And then boom, you get a crosswind. You all you can do is hang on. All you can do is hang on and hopefully balance that truck out. I've seen some guys where that rear trailer or both trailers would get off the ground and they can kind of counterbalance it, and maybe if the wind dissipates, get it back down. But if that wind doesn't dissipate or deviate a little bit so you can get control, Mother Nature's in control at that point. You're not going to save it. So it was interesting to find out that the cameras did help us in that aspect, because it showed that the driver, he was buckled in, he was doing everything he's supposed to do. And they could see that he was trying to guide it and everything else and get over on the emergency stopping lane and still flip the trailer. He was able to, because they helped him there a good bit, in a couple hours trying to get everything investigated. But he was able to bring that one trailer, and they had to get a wrecker to flip the other one back up and then take it on. And it didn't bust the sides out. So I think they were able to move it on to the next terminal and get it reworked. But those are the situations that we get into sometimes, and it's tough. And you want to that's, like I said, fortunately for us, that was a situation that technology actually helped us instead of hurt us. And all these guys are usually afraid that the technology will hurt them, but it didn't in that case. I've had some, I've had guys talking on their cell phone and then run off the road, or, and I had one a couple of years ago. The guy picked up his cell phone, and then the traffic started stopping in front of him, and he tried to jerk it to the left. And when he did, the traffic stopped. He rear-ended somebody, popped him, and that happens. And I've had. That's the worst thing I've had. I've had 4 rear enders in the last 2 years. And I'm kind of a proponent of this collision avoidance myself right now, because I've had 4 costly accidents like that. We've had to dismiss 2 of the drivers because of that. 2 of them we kind of saved their job, but 2 of them, we didn't get to save their job, because one of them was, our trucks are cut back to 65 miles an hour anyway. And he was doing 65, but the problem was it was in a work zone that was a 50-mile-an-hour work zone. So, I tried to explain to him, son, you can't do that. And he said, well, everybody else does. I said, well, that's the old scenario. If everybody jumps off the bridge, are you going to do that too? And that's the problem. Just because some of your other friends were speeding in that work zone too does not, alleviate the problem, or does not change the situation where you can speed in it. And especially, and this boy, was following another tractor trailer truck and hit the rear end of that tractor trailer truck. So it destroyed my truck. Didn't hurt the other truck much. I bent the bumper probably a little bit, the little, dock bumper. And I'll probably have to pay good for that because I've had to pay for one of those before. And these companies, even though it doesn't do anything but scratch them, they'll charge you about $1,500 to $2,000 for their bumper, even though they won't do a darn thing for it. They'll probably just put a tow motor and pull it out or whatever. But we'll see. I haven't been charged back on that yet. So and that's what you get with that. But they bumped their insurance up so high on things like that. It's pathetic. So we kind of got to watch it on stuff like that. Well, guys, I'm not going to bore you with much more. I've got that's about all I've got to say today. I've got to get a lot of work done. I'm gonna get out of here and just catch me next week, and maybe catch me if I might try to do some uh, individual things without just being the Sunday morning thing. But I'm gonna get out of here, get some stuff done, and enjoy chatting with you. And catch you again next Sunday if I can.